I would have to look that one up though. That's funny. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Here we go. Skilbo, if you're talking, you are muted, my friend.
It is that time. Welcome to the late sesh. As always, I'm Skilbo1, joined by Red Setter Farm. And tonight we have returning guest Spartan Grown and Narwhal. What up, fellas?
What's up, guys? Happy to be here. Trying out the headset, trying to be quiet.
What's going on?
It was weird. I was like waiting for you to say something, and then in my headphones, I could hear when the stream went live. And you were like, "If you're saying something, you're muted."
Yeah, I got playback going on right now on my headphones, so I apologize. I'm trying to figure everything out right now and pop chat out. What's going on,
Tell them.
everybody? What's
Tell them
going
about
on,
live chat. Tell them about
Chat.
live chat.
Pop into live chat if you are viewing. You're gonna have a much better experience. You're gonna be able to hang out with us and chat with us. And if you guys have any questions tonight, feel free to pop in. It looks like of course, you see Spartan Grown has joined us again, as noted, and we have Narwhal in with us because he's an awesome dude and he wanted to hang out, and he's part of our grow off. And cheers, Narwhal. What's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Cheers, y'all. I'm doing good. Just finishing up my garden work for the day.
Same here, man. I had to finish up some outdoor, not too much. I just did some watering pretty much and took some photos, things like that. Everything's drumming along pretty nicely. I really need to start doing some maintaining out there, starting to flower and trimming most of the time. How about you, Spartan? How you been today, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. We busted ass at work, which is always fun. Getting a lot of stuff done, you know what I mean? Some of those days when you go and you work on one thing all day long and you still don't get done, those are kind of depressing. But when you go to work and you get about 15 things done, those are the nice days, and that was today. So I'm happy
Double
about
bonus
that.
when
And
it
we
happens on a Monday.
yeah, and we even got let out early a little bit, like an hour or two early. So we got a lot done, and we got out early. So super cool.
Cheers, Michigan Matt, on that one.
For sure. Shout out Michigan Matt. Then
Dude,
I
I
was
saw-
ready for this. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say I saw in the grow off video. Shout out to the grow off video. If you guys haven't checked that out, check out the Michigan Bros Grow Show site. And so I saw there you had a mint and canico bag, but I never got a chance to smell it or check it out. What was in that mint and canico bag? Was it Han Solo burger or?
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
there's the
man.
Hustle burger.
Okay.
Cheers,
Glad I
Jack
tried that.
Greenstock. I see you, brother.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. I went back there. Oh, Jack, what's going on, man? Thank you, man. Yeah, I actually got to try that. I went and checked it out from a local provisioning center. So shout out to that stuff. That's good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was thought he had just given us that. I think it was Friday. So I've been holding on to it. I didn't even open that bag. I was like, I'm saving this until Sunday, and I'm just gonna be
That made it through the whole
cracking it out for the. It was the Judge pregame. We had to get everybody in the right mood before we got going. See, my theory was if everybody was high, then there was no prejudice. See, if you went in dry, you weren't high yet, and something got you high, you might love that bud a little bit more. So we had to make sure we took that off the table.
And that's
Yeah, we
where
had to get-
Norwal comes in because he was able to sit down with us for that pre-show bomber. And then we also had the Mac too from you, so don't short shot that one.
Oh, we mixed. We did a straight Han Solo burger joint that was followed by a mix of the Mac and the Han Solo burger. So got the 1-2 punch on that one.
I want to say cheers to Kazu, Green Nugs, Gabe, how's it going? No tilling for Terps. DB420, how you doing tonight? Hoss Farms, Tara Wilson is always here. Abolished, since it's a late show, he'll make it. If it was the Wake and Bake, that'd be a no dicer. Hey, Lori, what's going on? Push Canvas, Chicha, how you doing tonight? Birdwatcher, the OG, yeah, man, we got everybody coming through. Jack, I already shouted you out. Thank you again, brother. It's always good to see you. Dro, Andrew, how we doing? Yeah, man.
I see Daddy Red in chat. Shout out Daddy Red.
Daddy Red is in the house. Cheers, Daddy Red.
Big help, man. Daddy Red hooked me up while I was out of town and while I've been working all week. He took my car for me and helped me get some stuff changed out, wheel bearings, rear drum brakes, things like that. And we ended up getting a 20-ton press. So we're gonna be getting that back to the house. I got a set of low temp plates sitting on the kitchen table ready to be installed, and ready to rock and roll with that. So shout out Daddy Red for hooking it up. It's been an awesome job, and I can't wait to dual purpose that press and cruise around in those wheels. Been great. Thank you.
I can't wait to see what your outdoor turns into at the end from that leftovers we have.
Yeah, the
I'm
outdoor is
interested
gonna.
to see. I'm interested to see use that press on some of your CBD stuff and see what kind of rosin you can get with like that. We were just talking before the show, the GDP cross that you made that might make some amazingly good fucking medicinal kind of rosin.
I have one plant out there that's got. It's looking like 3 to 4 good solid tops coming up. So I'm expecting a decent harvest off of it. I mean, the plant's 3 to 4 feet tall. It's gonna be it might peek over my neighbor's fence. Yeah. So, I'm excited for that one.
Uh-oh.
I might actually, yeah, right.
It's a good thing.
So if it's got a little bit of CBD on it, maybe she'll grab a little nug for herself and we'll call it even. And let's see here. I still have some rosaberry in flower form, which I'm thinking about shaking out into some dry sift or maybe put it in some bubble and seeing how the rosaberry goes. 11% CBD.
Dude, I forgot all
So
about
I'm pretty
that,
excited
man.
to try that too.
Yeah, that was really good when we got that from you.
I mean, it's sitting in storage. It's not going anywhere. It's not degrading by any means. It's as good as it was when I chopped it. To be honest, it sits in a nicely controlled environment. Aside from that, 2 weeks that I had of hot environment here because of it didn't get that hot in my basement. It stayed in the 60s, 70s in my basement anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. But I didn't have AC.
Narwhal took
Yeah,
us
that
for a
stuff's still
quick
stored.
tour before we went live here, and we got to see his plants and his setup. Everything was looking really happy in there. What did you have in there, Narwhal?
So I had 2 different phenos of my blueberry widow in there.
That was a good one when you shared that with us at the grow off.
Yeah, then everybody who's gotten a sample that has tried it so far, they've said they really liked it. So thank you all.
That was labeled BW, correct? Is that Blueberry Widow?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm actually filling this beautiful water bomb that Scobo
Nice.
gifted me with some Blueberry Widow right now, Narwhal. So I have a
Good
dual
deal.
gift in my hands that I'm getting ready to indulge on. So thank you guys. Appreciate you.
I'm smoking some of that grow off right now. This is sample O. So whoever O was did a really good job. It's nice and sticky. Really like the terps on this, man. It's like really fruity. Oh, Henry. Dirty Cordy, I wish I could answer your question about Solus Tech Ballast, but I don't know. Hopefully somebody in the chat or somebody on the panel can give you a hand with that.
I've used Solus Tech Ballast. What was the question?
It was who knows anything about
ballast.
Solus Tech Ballast not firing, but the green LED is working. And he follows up. He says 3 bulbs are not working. Forced to flower on 1 T5 tonight. Ooh, we were talking about that. Hey, Stabby, what's going on, brother?
I've had good luck with my grow shop being able to swap out their ballasts for me just by taking them in if they're under the warranty. It seems like they have a pretty good relationship with the reps. Hopefully your grow store has the same type of relationship with Solus Tech reps. It seems to be pretty easy to just take it in with a defect and swap it out on the spot. Hopefully you have the same type of setup going on with wherever you're at. Otherwise, never had that specific issue. I have had some issues where like the ballast blew a bulb. That was an issue that I had. I had an issue where a ballast just misfiring and things like that. So it happens. You'll run into that. We were actually talking about issues that we can run across, power outages and things like that. So that kind of comes across as one of those issues. Sometimes you come home and your ballast isn't working right, or your lights are off and you don't know what's going on. Or you have, in my scenario, there was insulation actually leaking out of my ballast. It was kind of like not really a silicone, but almost like an epoxy type of insulation that they coat the entire inside with to keep it, I guess, water sealed. And the heat from the room, the heat from the ballasts were mounted up high. They were on an angle to where it would liquefy and kind of run out the bottom. It had me a little bit worried. That was the same ballast that was misfiring and eventually blew the bulb. It didn't blow the bulb at my grow. What happened was it was not firing, and I took it into the shop, and I took it into the grow store. The grow store plugged it into their bulb and back, and it actually blew a bulb on them. So fortunately, I didn't try refiring it. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on if you do have any misfiring ballasts. Take it to the grow shop. Don't try to be a professional on them. Just contact your sales representative or contact the manufacturer, contact the company or something like that, because you're dealing with dangerous grounds when you're talking with 240 volts, 110 volts, or whatever. If you got a DIY wiring system, I don't know if you're going direct from the pole, you know what I mean? It's
Oh, that's that
dangerous grounds, so.
abandoned house move there. We're coming straight from
As
the pole and shit.
We don't know in this industry, so you know what I mean? I'm just getting it all out there.
Great state of Michigan.
We don't have to worry about that here in Michigan anymore.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right, though. Don't fuck around with this shit, you know. But at the same time, that horrible, horrible feeling when you walk into your room and something is supposed to be working and it's not. There's that long, it probably takes you about 3 or 5 seconds to process what the fuck is going on, but you're like, oh, you know, you start going through in your head, okay, what could it be? It could be this, it could be that, it could be this. You know, you got to be careful. It's electricity. You don't want to get jingled.
Narwhal, this is good, man. Shout out. Thank you. This is incredibly smooth. It was the smell's got that hint of like sour blueberry to it, and you know, bag appeal wise and everything's really cool, man. It's got a little frost to it. I really like it. I even see some purple in it deep down inside, which I like, and it's kind of actually more of like that platinum blue purple, which I really like. And then smoking wise, smooth, man. Congrats. Thank you. Appreciate the smoke. Enjoy it.
Smoke up, Red. Spartan is back there with the humongous fucking OG Spartan pipe.
Sitting here smoking some Spartan glue too. That's been sitting in this jar for fucking months. I'm down to like 2 or 3 more nugs, but I needed some right now just to relax me and get me ready for tonight.
Sit back. Push back. Hopefully everyone is having a good close to their Monday. Hopefully you're able to smoke along with us. We appreciate you checking out the show. As always, growers love. Damn, I looked in the chat and Dirty saying it's a total clown show, and then I had to realize they were talking about not us. We're working.
They're talking politics. Talking politics in chat.
Only politics I want to talk about is what.
Oh yeah, there's one of those things going on.
One of those things, yeah, man. It's a pundit party.
The old popularity contest. I never was really much into those.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
Google, you wanted to talk about the summertime blues, didn't you? You want to talk about the old summer storms and
Yes, we spoke about this last night on the Bro Show Live. If you didn't get a chance, be sure to put that in your watch later list. But I was saying it's coming up on that time of year for everybody here to that PSA that says if you don't have a generator, you might want to consider thinking about one, or where you're going to source one, or what you're going to do, because storm seasons are coming, power outages are coming. Luckily, last night, Red was able to pick up the ball and run with it from here for me, because, as always, Red is dealing with some old cockamamie bullshit going on at the farm. Puts blunt down.
I guess that's my cue.
That's your, yeah, there you go.
So, you know, looking at the map, there's like nothing, you know, beautiful day, whatever's going on. All of a sudden, my cameras go out. And what the hell's going on? Look at the radar. There's a couple patches of storms. Didn't really think much of it. Figured it was just a simple. Well, I guess let me back up about 2 days prior to the storms. I had a brownout. Real weird situation. It was just me, maybe a couple of my neighbors. It may have been from me. I don't know. But they ended up having to come.
Guilty.
They ended up having to come and like flag my yard and fix my pole and do a couple of things. So I may or may not have blown a fuse, but I mean, I wasn't running more electricity than I have been in the last few years or anything like that. So I think that it may have been eventually maybe a bad leg on my line or something. So either way, long story short, I'm running low wattage. I mean, couldn't run any of my lights, couldn't run any of my 220s. Water pump won't work. I got flickering light bulbs, fluorescent bulbs are just hardly coming on. So I was able to run a couple wall fans in my grow room. The dehumidifier would fire, but it wouldn't really operate. You know what I mean? Like the motor would, and it would it wasn't up to wattage. The fans would work, so I was able to run some fans. Now this is mid light cycle. I don't know. It's 10 o'clock at night or something like that. I'm just sitting there doing reservoir work and things like that. Lights are on, plants are happy, and all of a sudden, everything just kind of goes to a hum. Careful with that one. Surges and all kinds of bad stuff happens with brownouts. So I had to go through. I like what you're showing there, Skillbo.
Yeah, man.
I had to go through and I had to kill breakers. It's real important if you're getting a brownout. Kill some breakers, shut off your appliances. You don't want any bad surges to, mess up your air conditioners. Most importantly, so I, did all the proper protocol there. Contacted my electrical company, and it ended up being a good 8 to 12 hours before they actually fixed the electrical issue. Well, since the lights were on when the power went out, the plants went into sleep mode, and there was no dehumidification, air conditioning. There were wall fans, fortunately. The floor filled up with water. It was pretty much raining from the ceiling. I mean, it was a wet mess for a good few hours. Had fans on, plants were happy. Just call it a rainy day. We get it. We get it in the outdoor season. Not a big issue. My temperatures were good, fortunately. Didn't have to run any heaters that evening. I think it was 70 to 75 degrees out at night anyways. It was a real warm evening. Nice and muggy and humid. The plants were happy. So get into a couple days later, I'm thinking, well, that brownout sucked. I really didn't want to risk it. I wanted to just throw a generator on, which would have been nice. Didn't get one. A couple days later, power outage. Boom. What was just a storm that swept through, and I mean, there was nothing on the map. It wasn't supposed to rain that day. The storm just kind of came out of nowhere and took out the power and pretty much my entire township for 26 hours. So this thing came through, and I get a grace period of power outage. If I lucked out this time around, my plants were actually in the middle of their sleep cycle when the power did go out, so they had already gone through their humidity spike and they were kind of waiting to wake up. So I didn't actually deal with the wet floors or anything during this 26-hour period. But I went and I got myself a generator just in case. I decided to go with, it's like a 4,000 watt, but it's 3,500 running watts, which seems to be enough to power my dehumidifier currently. And a couple.
Tell them what you have. Tell them what you have for a dehumidifier first.
You're not for the dehumidifier. I have I'm not using a little small one. I'm using a 190 pint Ideal Air commercial dehumidifier. So that's the one that I currently use. It is only 110 volt, which is good. The generator has a 220, but I don't have to use that. But I get to run 3,500 watts, so I can run a few fans. I can run dehumidifier. I guess if I had a portable air conditioner, I could probably get away running that. There's a handful of things that I could run off of a generator. The generator was a Harbor Freight model. I think it was I quote me on the brand, Raptor or something like that. I feel like is what it was called, but it was only $400 or $450 or something like that. It really wasn't a break in the bank buy for what it is. If it's going to help me get through, sometimes in Michigan we get 36, 48, 72 hour power outages, and that's danger zone right there.
And EC Gorilla was asking what a brownout is, Red.
So a brownout's when you're getting less than average amounts of electricity. You're not getting your full amount of energy going to your building. I'm sure there's a better way of describing it. But that's kind of the words that I can figure out right now. Let me think. In my case, only one leg was kind of working. Literally half my breakers weren't working, and the other half, whatever was on that leg kind of was. The 220s weren't getting enough energy. So it's there's either something going on your panel, on your pull-out box, or there's something going on at the pole. Sometimes it's you got a dual fuse at the pole, and sometimes there's a fuse that just blew on the pole. I think in my case I blew a fuse. And that could have been because maybe there was a surge. Maybe both my air conditioners kicked on at the same time, along with me running my microwave and the pumps going and a couple of other things, right? That just normally doesn't happen at the same time, or it just aged and it was time to go.
I see that.
which I think is what happened. I think it was just time for it to blow up.
I see
Things
that
happen
Ned's
sometimes
having
in
a
a
problem
wood.
out there with it right now. So cheers to you, brother. Hopefully your power comes back on really, really soon, like tomorrow.
Yeah, and if I mean, worst case scenario, man, get in there. Like if you're in a tent or something, you can actually do this. Get in there, just hand fan your shit. I mean, just move some air around. Just make sure it's not just totally stale. I mean, worst case scenario, move some air around. I mean, the dehumidifier is kind of a luxury in a power outage. Really, if you can just get your air moving, you might luck out with the few days off. And we were talking also, don't worry about your lights. Keep your lights off. That's kind of the last thing your plants really need. The big thing is to make sure that you don't get mold. You might have to run your cycle a couple extra days. Your DLI got cut in half, or got cut into zero for a couple of days. You might have to go a couple extra days into flower. You might lose a percentage off your yield or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's better than
It's better than losing the whole
botrytis.
crop, though. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
I think worst case scenario right now would be like multiple days of power outage. I would probably make the decision, because we're in the luxury right now of a lower light cycle, pull everything out of my flower room and just put it outside somewhere. Fuck it.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. I mean, if it's really that big of a concern, you know what I mean, and you're not worrying about scrogs and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to want to put it. I mean, once you get your power back, and if you put it back in that room, you're going to have bugs galore. So you probably don't want to do that. If you're taking it outside, you're probably going to finish them outside. But that's an option.
That is a good option too, and it's the time of year to do it. I mean, you got plenty of time to flower even something that's just starting to flower.
Well, think about this: is how many people have a large commercial operation that are listening to this versus how many people are growing in a 4x4 tent. So if you're growing in a 4x4 tent, something you might want to think about, and I know this is probably controversial, but off the top of my head, not being a tent grower, I would think about pulling my plants out of the tent for the meantime and then just keeping my lights off in the basement, because it's probably going to be better out of the tent than in. But that's just a thought. I don't know. Anybody clarify that?
Yeah, oh God, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're a tent grower or something, just go toss them in on your kitchen table. I mean, the more atmosphere around your plants, the better. You know, it's just
Yeah,
less
for
like
sure. You can
less
put
likely
them.
for water to settle. There's a lot more movement just in your open home than there is inside that little tent.
Right.
Just unzip the tent. Just whatever.
Right.
Don't worry about a light leak for the day. I guess there's worse things that you could encounter if you keep it closed.
Well, like I said, if you walk into some powdered donuts on your plants, it's pretty much a fucking wrap.
Exactly.
Or you could use some Dr. Zymes. You can spray some Dr. Zymes. They'll eat up that powdery mildew.
Here we go. See, I always got to put that out there, and then somebody will come behind me with the real tech. I always tell Spartan how much I appreciate whenever I'm on a show with him, because I can come up with like something, but not have all of the meat and potatoes of it, and I can just sort of shove it over towards him, and then he makes me sound like I knew what the fuck I was talking about. So, always appreciate it.
This is not the show for that though, because I just get extremely high and then go to bed. So normally I'm sitting watching you guys doing this, but now that's why I don't jump in too much, because I'm just getting as high as possible. I ate a bunch of RSO before this too. So.
Well, we haven't heard from Norwal in a minute. Has he gone comatose on us? Are you hanging in there like a biscuit?
He was doing those dabs earlier.
I know. He did that big ass. I said it. He put this big dab out in front of us and showed me, and I said, like, "Holy shit, what the hell is that, man?" And he said, "That's a dank man Dan size dab." And
he said he's still here.
Oh yeah, he's still okay. I'm still here. He's still kicking. Just hold your hand up.
He's sitting in the shitter right now. He doesn't want to jump in and talk.
There, Smash Cannabis is talking about that Calmac.
His baby probably jumped up for a moment. He's
dead.
Normal, if you are there, just curious if you have run into a power outage yourself, and what might you have done in that situation? If you just let it hang and dangle, or if you had to get it fixed up.
Put him on the spot again.
So if the power went out here, I'd probably just go open my tents up down in the basement and then wait for it. I don't think we've ever had like a really long power outage. Now, if I was up in the UP where I grew up, yeah, I'd totally have a backup generator, at least 2 of them, because yeah, you go like 2-3 days, sometimes even a week without power.
Yeah, Ballast in chat saying he doesn't really sweat it as long as it's not over a week.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you put the lightsaber thing on it. I was gonna read your whole quote, and then you went all George Lucas on us. Damn it.
I was just reading that too. Dude, a week-long power outage is not fun, man. That's not fun. That's not manageable. That's very difficult. It's difficult to work in those kind of conditions when you're dealing with flashlights and batteries and shit all the time.
Well, I keep bringing this up, and I brought this up on 2 shows in a row. Not just to put the PSA down to people that didn't catch the shit last night, but it's to get you as the person watching this to think about what the hell you're going to do when the power goes out. Because if you grow long enough, you're going to deal with it at some point. And at the same time, if you think you have a trusty generator that's been sitting in the garage for like 6 years and it's got kids' toys and old shoes and shit on top of it, and you haven't fired that thing up in eons, don't expect it to fire up when you need it to, man. Get out there and do your Army PMCS on that, preventive maintenance checks and services.
Every
What
90 days.
So what I'm going to be dreaming about and then saving my hard-earned dollars for is they make these units that sit outside your house, just like, you know, like the compressor units for a mini split or something. But they're just generators, whole home generators. You know what I mean?
Auto kit.
And I'm lucky enough to have natural gas here, which is way cheaper than even propane. So if I could get a natural gas, I know they make them. I'd like to get a natural gas one of those. Yeah, then it'll just kick on automatically when the power goes off, and I don't even have to worry. That's what I'm gonna do.
Those aren't that much either.
I
really.
think
When you really start
Generac-
looking at them. Yeah,
Generac is one of the brands that does it.
Yeah, Generac.
I've been sort of looking into it. Looks like a base model. They start at like about 5K.
5 to 6K, but you know, you might be able to.
Then you got installation too. That's, you got to figure that.
Yeah.
They add some more. You got to have an electrician.
A really, really good friend.
Get one to fall off the back of the truck.
Pro Touch Building. Shout out Pro Touch Building. Maybe you can hook me up. My good friend out there might actually be an installer of those. I'm not sure. So
You know,
Super
speaking
cool.
of your friends, Red, is my son was over yesterday, and what is your buddy's provisioning center? What's the name of it again?
that would be New Standard.
Yep,
New Standard Cannabis.
Yeah, he went there and shouted him out. He said, "Man, that was really good stuff." So,
Dude, I'm gonna butcher this if I don't get this right, but I want to say Hazel Park.
yeah,
Dude.
Hazel Park is one he went to.
Okay.
So dirty Michigan QWERTY. Yeah, he says he saw a 2K Generac. He saw it today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm off. I'm off by a lot then.
Well, it could be a different model, but that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking
makes
that
me
was like a
smile.
base. I was thinking that was the smallest one that I saw. So it sounds like they got something smaller than that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's,
I know. I would love
I'm
to
super
see
interested in that.
Shredder's talking about the solar. You know, as old as I am, I really thought we would have gone somewhere with solar by now. It's such a bummer, man, to think that here we are. Our hobby is to grow these plants, and we've been shackled from doing it outside for so long, and now we got to be getting like held down to pay for all this electricity costs when we could just be harvesting it every single day. So, really looking forward to
A
that.
slight issue in Michigan. You know, we're
We're
like
thinking
one of
about
the
it, man. We got some. You go out on 69 and you see there's a whole little field of them out there running along the way. But dude, I was in
There's a
Germany
field
like
like
30
Domino's
fucking years
Farms,
ago,
there's a
and they
few that
had
really-
massive fields back then. You know, like 30 years ago. So,
big fields. In Michigan though, we just have, dude, we get like 3 months of sunshine. You know what I mean? It's cloudy like 80% of the year. It's so difficult to be able to bank energy when you can't see the sun. November, December, January, February, most of March into April. You know what I mean? That's all cloudy days.
I don't think it's so much lack of development in solar or lack of development in any of the wind, water. It's the store, the energy, it's the
yeah, it's
battery.
the batteries that are
And-
the problem.
And the conspiracy guy in me, who's seen things said before, and it makes sense for me to believe it. But supposedly there's I see about every 4 or 5 years I'll see a new breakthrough that will make batteries last for like super long times basically, and nothing ever becomes of it. And then I saw I can't remember who wrote this piece, but they were basically saying how that these companies like the Energizers and all these big battery companies are buying up these patents to these ideas and just sitting on them because they want to sell batteries.
Dude, I love what Static XR
Well-
is saying. Is that Michigan has 200? What's he say? 277 partly cloudy days out of 365. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
concur with that.
that's almost perfect. And I mean, like windmills are cool too, but like they still use a lot of gas. Like there's turbine engines inside of windmills, and they need gasoline. They need avgas, methane, ethanol, or something to operate. You know, they got to get it fired up. It's got to get spinning, and then once it starts to spin, then the wind forces can kind of take over. But those are turbine engines inside of those windmills. They're not just big propellers generating. Like there's actually a lot going on inside of those things.
Dude, as you go further up into the thumb, there's just fields of those too that are pretty fucking cool. You see them like driving. They'll have one of the big propeller things on the front, and they'll be taking it on a big semi rolling up that way. And you're like, holy shit, man! Those things are so much fucking bigger than like what you can imagine.
I get stuck behind them on US 12 all the time.
US 12.
You know, my farm's in Irish Hills, and yeah, going through the hills there, they roll off. I mean, I've seen them roll off the side of trucks down into people's yards before. Not fun trying to excavate a fucking half of a giant 150-foot propeller blade out of somebody's yard.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I feel you. I think this episode's too short on yeah, mans. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, good times. Narwhal. Can you hear me, Narwhal? Come to
Yeah,
the
he
light,
just said that they
Narwhal.
put up a bunch of
I'm
propeller
here.
windmills.
Yeah, there's a bunch of windmills in my hometown. They put up, I want to say, like 26 of them, like 10 years ago. They're getting ready to put up another 18.
Damn.
Yeah, it sucks.
And you can hear them too, can't you?
You can hear them, the wind with them. There's this thing where like a flicker, where if the sun or the moon is between or on the other side of the windmill and where your windows are, it'll blink. So you end up with windmills are terrible, terrible things with them being next to actual like residential areas. So
I could see
I've
there
seen
being an
like
issue with just
residential
all the
windmills that are.
energy being generated. Also,
Well, I've seen
Sorry,
like I
Spartan.
think the answer. No, I just think the answer is more like smaller. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to make these gigantic, big, huge farms, why? If every house had its personal, like they have vertical windmills. It's just a column that turns like this. There's no blades. There's none of that bullshit.
yeah,
And you know, just provide enough power for the house, the space that you're in, instead of trying to provide power for everyone all around you.
well,
I don't
the
understand why
fucked
you
up
can't
thing
do that.
is
monoculture.
all the power from those windmills in my hometown, nobody in the town actually gets power from that. They all, and I think they
Yeah,
sell
that's
it
fucked up.
to Canada or something.
There's always some level of bureaucracy to shit or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, at some level, you have to respect that the very air that you're using to generate your profits comes from the people around you. You should give them something. You know what I mean? Give them even a discounted rate at cost power or something that you generate from them. Why I don't understand businesses.
Yeah.
It's called hooray for me and to hell with everybody else.
Yep. It's a bunch of greedy fucks.
Now, we're gonna shift gears. We're gonna go, baby, come back. We're gonna get back on the topic here of a little bit of cannabis. So,
Yeah.
even though we have gone far and wide from the topic, hopefully you've been able to hang with us through all this. I see that the chat is bumping
You
tonight.
gotta have electricity and energy to grow indoors
Yeah.
most of the time.
Oh, there's always yeah, man. We went off the track, but we didn't like go through the woods. Just like off the track, kind of like that propeller in that front yard.
We could
Yeah.
still turn and look over our shoulder and still see where we need to be.
Exactly, man. Just hang in there, folks. It'll always come back around.
Daddy Red in chat says 16,000 watts gets you about $5,000, or $5,000 gets you about 16,000 watts.
Okay.
Generator.
That sounds good.
Just-
I like that.
It's just, and then the other
Yeah,
thing
16,000 is good.
is everybody their outdoor should be showing buds by this point, right? Everybody's showing something. So we are fully in flower for outdoor. Start your engines. And hopefully this weather is going to hold out and everybody will be able to bring what they want to bring down before the seasons change on us. Spartan, how's it feel to not be growing outside this year? It's got to be weird, right?
Yeah, it feels terrible, dude. Thanks for bringing it up.
I know.
I enjoy that you brought that up.
I wanted to bring that up to you right there on the front of it,
I'm growing a bunch of vegetables outside and really enjoying the flowers that I have in my backyard. They're fucking wonderful. They're just not my favorite
Not the
flower,
smoking
but they're
ones,
they're
right?
still flowers. Yeah, yeah. Seeing a lot of pollinators and cool things like that outside, but I'm not seeing any cannabis except for my neighbor, my neighbor kitty corner to me has a little fucking Amazon plastic.
No.
Looks like a tent you'd build for your kids, but it's draped in green
Okay.
landscape or green, like a green plastic that I can see right through. And every time he opens the door, I can see like at least 3 or 4 plants in there, but they're not my plants; they're his plants.
I wonder if that dude, it'd be great if he watched the show and was like, holy fuck, I fucking live diagonal from Spartan Grown. I'm totally going to just fanboy the fuck out of this dude and ask him every question under the moon.
Well, he better bring me a fucking joint.
Exactly.
I do have some exciting news. I popped 4 seeds, 4 new genetics. So it's from, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Jack Greenstock.
Yeah.
And check this out. I've never had this much information about a strain from a breeder.
Jack is fucking thorough as shit, man. Jack, when you going to come on the late session, man?
Hell yeah, Jack.
We just got to get him
That's what's up.
set up. You know what I mean?
It's not really.
Yeah. So this one,
Give us the
he
excerpts,
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did.
Summarize.
It's strange. Maybe you can help me decode it a little bit.
Summarize.
So he made 2 crosses, right? And it's in one batch of seeds so there's 4 mothers in the room, and all 4 mothers were velvet punch, right? And then there are two males in the room, or he called them 2 studs. I don't want to misquote him. The first stud was a velvet punch F2, so it would have been, I don't know what he said, if it was a female, if the females what version they were, or F1 hybrids later on, I think. I don't know. So anyways, so it's an F2 male of the same strain. And then the other one was, hold on, he goes into a whole paragraph of those genetics. I don't know. Oh, Jesus. I can't even, it goes like, you know how when you're telling a story and then you go, and then this, but then you get off track and you start telling another story. That's what this happens a lot on this, because he's going into genetics and everything. I'm just going to read it. So the first is a velvet.
Like Strain Finder.
Yeah, it's a Velvet Punch F2 by Vegan Doja, aka Doja DNA. Velvet Punch is a cross of Purple Punch and Cookie 7. Purple Punch, which is Larry OG times Granddaddy Purple times Cookie number 7, equals Thin Mint Girl Scout Cookies times Black Velvet Kush times OG Kush. So whatever all that means. So then his F2 means that he took the Velvet Punch female and pollinated it with a Velvet Punch male. We know F1s to F2s, so we got that. It says the female Velvet Punch turned purple in his room as early as day 20 of flower, and the first signs were on his fan leaves. And all the phenols have an artificial grape flavoring similar to the purple Smarties candy or grape Kool-Aid powder. I'm excited about that shit.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
excited about that. Later in flower, they finishes around 9 weeks. Heavy grape and gasoline flavor. After the cure, the grape's a little more subtle, so it must be close to an ester or something where it kind of flashes off quicker. He said, but it's still very apparent that it's there, so it sticks around. That's cool. Gasoline or fuel smell and flavor is more dominating in the main smell and taste, but with a very sweet artificial grape flavor coating the mouth and throat on the exhale. That sounds
Hell yeah.
It's
fucking
like it's getting
amazing.
the granddaddy
So
purple from that
Yeah.
purple punch, or from that. Yeah.
Yeah, GDP. You know, another one that's in that cross that I really like is Larry OG. Larry is nice.
yeah, that's in that Han Solo burger we were smoking too.
Dude. You know, I'm
I have
still
a
sitting
pack
on
of
that. I have
Tropicana
not fucked with
Punch.
that yet, dude. I have not touched. I have shown that off to anybody who's come by and smoked everything else with them. But, that's
I'm
Which
not
one was that?
surprised.
the Han Solo
was that?
burger, bro.
Oh yeah, dude, that is, it's really good. It's
Oh.
funky. I dig
Yeah.
it. I got a pack of the purple punch that I really want to. It's Oni seeds. It's Tropicana cookies and no, not purple punch. What am I talking? Tropicana punch. That's what it is. It's Tropicana cookies and purple punch.
Dude, that's good.
I saw.
Potential,
Yeah, I've been
man.
meaning to pop it for a long time. I really wanna
You got
try
Trop
it.
Cherry too, don't you?
I have Trop Cherry from Relentless also that I haven't.
You haven't
popped
popped
into.
that?
I haven't gone
So
into that either. Yeah.
that's so piney.
Maybe I
We
popped a
have
couple of them. They runted
It's
on me,
piney?
and so I've got.
Ooh.
So I'm
I
really
think
excited
so.
to get into it.
Hey,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Now, with Jack being in the chat, there's three of us that are part of this pine hunting crew here, man. If you guys,
To me, it smells. We're an early flower, and it smells piney to me.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I got that
And it's-
archive lemon G cut also. That's supposed to be a Christmas tree or a Christmas wreath fragrance. So
Which one is that?
off the top of my head, I forget. So it was, but it's lemon G. It's lemon G leaning something, dude. I don't know, man. It's an archive one.
Dope.
It's not Citrus Rush. It's dude, I don't know. I'd have to go into my packs. I'd have to go to my vault honestly and look at it. Maybe
See,
that's
we're-
next show.
We're cruising up to 18 minutes for hash time. If you've got to go dig around your cupboards and get your concentrates together.
Yes,
Jack
I do.
Jack gave us he gave us a clear answer on that. The grape is a ester, methyl and thranolite. I've butchered it, I'm sure. Methyl and thranolite. It gives a super artificial grape.
Yeah,
I'm
Jack,
excited for that, Jack.
Jack talking about pining dreams. That's what that chat is. Pining dreams. Because we're just old school in the sense of terpenes have kind of been the topic of conversation today around YouTube and things like that. And it's funny how so many of these are just gone now for us, and they've become more and more rare. Whereas, if you want to go back, I'm not trying to just sound stupid, but just go back like 20 years, man, back to the year 2000, and think about the strains that were around then, and some of the ones that you smoke today, or they either are still around or they were parents to shit that's fire now. But a lot of those flavors are gone. It started off talking about the grow off plant with the hazy thing, and then we were talking about Norwal with the blue, right? And both of those flavors are not as common these days as they would have been, even 15 years ago. Now we're talking about grape and purples and things like that. And that's going to take me back to like 2012 or something was when probably that was big around here. Red, how long have you had GDP for? About that long?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. I've had GP maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like 2014, 2015.
Purple
something
Kush
like
used
that.
to be huge, man.
I walked into this conversation like I was having it upstairs when I was grabbing this bag of weed. It's weird because I was like walking downstairs. I was like, "Oh, this bag of weed looks and smells like something that I'd like grab in high school. This is weird." And you come down here and you're talking about the throwback weed. And it's funny that you mentioned that. This is Death Star, by the way,
We're
which
talking about Death Star in the pre-show.
looks and smells like throwback weed. So it's good throwback weed, to be honest.
And for
It's-
me, what I've used is the Keweenaw
Not good
Copper.
commercial weed though.
Right. Again, not good commercial weed. I don't know. Keweenaw Copper is a really good yielder. Shout out to Silver Squirrel on that. I've grown that for a year now, and I've decided that in my new start to everything, basically, I got to get these packs popped. Jack's mentioned it in the chat. but I have new clones and cuts and things. I just up potted a bunch of rainbow drivers and GMOs today. So, I mean, something's got to give. I can't carry all these things and be good with a plant count. So, some of the things that I've carried for a while are going to go the way of the dodo bird. I still have the packs though, so if I do want to go back into it, um, I'm one of those guys that only pops half a pack for more than a couple of reasons. One is I could make a potential failure. Oh shit! Okay, there you go. Look at him. He's now see he's got to hold on to that until hash time where he's going to double dip us. And if he double dips us, he's going to fucking be gone.
Yeah, but Spartan goes to bed at midnight, so maybe he has to do his hash
He's
time
gotta
just
do
a
his
little bit
time early.
earlier
Okay,
than us.
okay, I got you. I got you.
It'll last me and lull me right into sleep right at the perfect time.
Yeah, he just freezing up out of here. You know,
So I
another
wanted to
old-
answer this question real quick in
ahead.
chat. It was I gotta scroll up now. Damn it. Ontario Grown Buds asked, "How do you guys protect your outdoor buds from the rain?" The best thing is to get something over it, man. Get something over it. Build it now. Don't wait until the end of the season when it's raining. Just a little frame. You can throw plastic or a tarp or something.
Yep.
Something you can roll over. Keep it rolled up already rolled up. So all you got to do is pull it out and when this rains come. That way you're not fucking with it in the rain.
Well, that was the
The
thing
best-
with Doc was that he was doing a lean-to thing where he was going to basically put some stakes in, hook the plastic to it, pull it back, you know what I mean, and make like a shed roof to it so that all the water wouldn't lay on the top. Because that's the problem that you guys are going to run into is if you try to do some kind of flat roof shit, you're going to get a big puddle of water in the middle of it and it's going to stretch it all out. So make sure that one side is higher than the other so that it'll at least drain off of there. Unless
Yeah,
you want to get all fancy
sure.
and put like a ridge line in and shit like that, hey, go for it, man. But I'm
Yep.
just saying, don't keep it flat.
Well, yeah, you could do one. You could do something right down the middle, the lengthwise, and then
Ridge
have it roll up to that. So you have the rolls in the middle, and then you just drop it, and they both gravity helps roll it out. You know what I'm saying? You just get it started, and it'll just roll itself out.
Ooh, you're just
But
so excited to
You
go
shouldn't really
outside.
have to worry about
I love that shit, man.
Fuck yeah, man. I can't wait until
if
next year to
if
see
it's
it.
warm, and you shouldn't really have to worry about too much rain. You can keep the bottom of your canopy, keep the inside of your plants maintained. You don't let them you allow there to be enough airflow. There seems to be a wax oil, it's trichomes, it's the oils, it's the waxes of the flower that actually protect the plant. And it almost acts almost like rain acts on your windshield. And it's just kind of like the water just kind of beads up and rolls off. It doesn't absorb into your buds. Like, I don't know if that's a myth or something. Like, maybe your buds can get a little saturated like sponges or something, but usually the rain's like rolling off your buds. Naturally, the plants are growing outside in the rain under a canopy in a forest or something, or they get rained on. Best bet, if you can't cover your plants, have good genetics. Try them one season, and if they don't work out in the rain, don't grow them the next season. Grow good genetics. If they did work out one season, continue to grow those in your climate. That is the only advice I could probably give for that one, because it varies so much. I mean, dude, who knows? Maybe 80% of the genetics that we get, online or from whatever source is probably bred indoors. They're not very resistant to outdoor environments, period. So you want to get either find a breeder that breeds outdoors and it is already resistant to those kind of things. You want cool temperatures. If you're in Michigan, you got to have, I went through a couple of these varietals that I grew last year. I mean, it snowed. We can talk about rain, but I mean, this plant survived with snow on it.
Great babe.
Chopped it, didn't have any issues. No, this was one of those, like one of the autos or something like that. Great babe's done early. Great babe's only like 55 days. I mean, that
So-
thing's gonna probably be done super early.
We're not covering one side. We're talking just about rain here. But one of the things that I know is from listening to a shit ton of other growers through the years is we do get the occasional massive hailstorm. And the chances of you getting a hailstorm that can fuck your plants up may be really, really small, but the potential does exist for it. So, if nothing else, covering your plants or having the ability to at least have it staked out so that if such a thing were to unfortunately occur, you could have the tarps already set up. You could have all the stakes driven in. You could have everything set up so that if that happens, you can protect your outdoor crop. Now, I'm talking more for the guy who's doing, 1, 2, 3, 12, whatever. But, I think that if I had to say that there's a topic of this show besides terpenes and crazy fucking windmills, it's got to be that we're talking about an ounce of prevention. That's what this show is an ounce of prevention.
Yeah, and you can turn that one thing into multiple benefits. Like for example, you can when it's not the rainy season, you're not worrying about rain. You can hang a screen there, put a screen down. Now you're
Sprout.
preventing bugs. You're preventing caterpillars from falling out of the trees. All kinds of crap. You're preventing birds from coming down and all kinds of stuff.
You're
I don't
saying
know.
I
There's
need one
just
of
so
those
many.
white pop-up tents that zips down on the sides that people use for like tailgating parties, and I should throw my plants under it.
Or
You can,
like Jack has
$60.
Jack had
Yeah.
like actually Jack in the chat, Jack Greenstock, shout out to him. He had pretty much what I would do in my situation because I have to stay fairly short, under 6 feet. You can get those cattle fencing. They're like usually or hog panels even, but their hog panels are a little bit probably
Metal ones.
too hard to bend. But yeah, like cattle fencing, and you can get like 8-foot sections and just bend them, and then use rebar. Uh, just drive it into the ground, and then use that to hold it into hold that arch,
Yes.
and then just cover it with your plastic.
So
I would
if your
probably
guys are-
do a row, probably one level, maybe 2 levels of cinder block just to make the border around the outside. And then also to help hold that bent over fencing or whatever you're using to make your arch.
well, we're talking about cattle fencing, and if anybody's looking for it, go to Tractor Supply. You can buy it there actually pretty easily. But when you have the extra part of the roll, something that I used to do was I used to make bales of it where I would take a piece of it and I would wrap it around into a big ass circle and zip tie those together. And then I use those to hang my buds on to dry. So it was a way to be able to hang a whole bunch of fucking shit to dry. Because if everything goes on the outside, then everything's open all the way around because the center's open as big as it is. So stupid tech I stole from somebody somewhere along the line, probably on YouTube. So that's just something to think about if you have that leftover fencing and you're looking for a place to dry.
And that kind of cattle fencing is perfect for helping you to just tie to. If you're trying to help hold up buds later in the season or something, it gives you an anchor point to pull a plant yo-yo, or if you're using that green tape or whatever you're using to help support your plant.
Does that look familiar?
Yeah, is that Earth OG?
Yeah.
We called it the backstory on that is the name Earth OG just came because I handed it around to a whole bunch of people. It was like mixed blend. It was like house blend, mixed blend, a bunch of stuff. Shout out to a homie who works for New Standard. It was a couple years ago. They were doing some partnerships, I think, with Element or something like that. So pretty sure that was either ran by Element or somebody else ran it. But I'm pretty sure the Element ran that based
Let's see what it
on
says on the bottom.
the numbers in the residual solvents. I'm going to say the Element ran it.
This was,
And
it says 500 milligrams crumble Earth OG, 68.99% THC, and the total cannabinoids were 79.59. There you go.
yeah, it was fire, dude. And it
It is. Thank you.
it a couple years ago, it got made a couple years ago. So it's still got a good quality to it. It want to say, man, where was I going with that? It's a crumble, and I want to say that it had I can't think of all the different varietals that I had mixed up and blended in with it. But so I had a whole bunch of people smell it, and they all said it really smelled earthy. So we just kind of called it Earth OG and didn't really think much of it as a name. But I guess
Does it have a
there's
lot of
Earth
flow
OG
in it?
out there.
If I feel like it's got a lot of
Probably,
flow
there's-
in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of flow in it. I'm
Okay.
sure there's a good cut of flow in there. Good
I
cut of
think-
Wi-Fi OG. There's probably a good cut of there's probably some Granddaddy in there. There's probably some like Chernobyl from it might not be. There's probably some Apollo 13 in it though. Probably some Death
Yeah.
Star in it. Little Death Star, little Apollo 13. All the ones I'm probably still
all
running
those
now.
classic hits, man.
Yeah, well they're the ones that just they yield the most, and that I would run the most plants of. So I always had the most most trim of that. And then so yeah, I want to say that the Element ran that and did a fantastic job on it. And they hooked it up. Got really good test results. And actually, the residual solvent tests, PSI Labs. If you look up the client Red Setter Farm, you can find the residual solvent results on that also, which are like, dude, I don't know, like less than 20 ppms or something like that. Just incredibly low number. Um, Easily metric passable. So it was really fun, like in that stuff process. I just never like none of my patients dab. You know what I mean? They might take some dry sift or something as a gift and roll it in their joints or something, but they're not out for that stuff. So I've had just a stock of it, you know. So fortunately, I was able to give it away and finally give off the last of it, and I don't have any more of it anymore. So I might have a little bit
I cleaned you out.
personal
Dude.
stash,
I
but
cleaned you out.
yep, you guys finally took the last of it, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Had some good reviews, and I mean it's a couple years old, but that's the backstory on that Earth OG. You know, if anybody wants to know, it's not actually Earth OG. It's more like Red Setter mixed blend. So
I've really been just tumbling down the hole on bubble hash and the washing machines and the bags and trying to figure out, since I know that I'm going to have such a large harvest off of what my next one's going to be. I need to start thinking now and assembling all my shit together. Here we go again with an ounce of prevention, the whole PMCS. Is I'm trying to think forward about what I'm going to do with this excess plant material that I have. So I have always been a hash aficionado, and I would love to try my hand at it and work on it now, and then see where I'm at in a year after I'm able to do a few runs, try some different things, and then hand it out to everybody in the crew, and then get feedback on it. It's like the next level, the next step, man. I'm not interested in getting a press and making rosin right now. Um, I really just want the hash. So
What if you take and say combine like a lot of the bags together, so you're not separating as much, and you're getting more of a full spectrum hash? Then you're taking that and doing the dry tech, you know, the old school dry tech, and then you do like what Frenchy Canelli does with his balls, and do temple
yeah,
balls
I
with
would
it.
love to, man. I was watching some Dank Duchess and some Frenchie the last like 3 or 4 days. So it's cool, man. You know, there we're talking about terps again, and that is the Hashushin terpene, and I love
Well, I
it.
think that would be kind of like your perfect for you. I think that would be your
That
perfect
is something.
avenue, because you're one that likes to like savor and hold on to things, and you're able to do that. So what I mean, that's like the ultimate when it comes. I mean, play to your strength. So if
Right.
you can make these balls, and you can sit there and let them age and make that weird combination that happens, and now you're getting terpenes that you can't even get in a cannabis plant. And
Dude, that's cool as fuck, isn't it?
yeah, so that I'm saying, I mean, you could really do some special stuff, and it would make your bubble hash easier because you're not using as many bags. See, you're just taking kind of the full spectrum, and then you're
Oh,
mashing it all together.
right. What I ended up going with, and I know that the quality of the bag is all important, but it also has to be cost efficient for me at the moment. So I'm not going to spend a lot of money in the very beginning when I'm trying to learn how to do this. But I bought the Bubble Bag Dude full mesh bags. I think it's either a 4 or a 5 set bag. I'm not sure, but it starts with the 220 and it goes all the way down to 25. And I've watched a lot of videos on it, and luckily I have a lot of friends on the panel, you know, both past and present, that were all hash makers themselves. So I knew which washing machine to buy and all that good stuff, and I can't wait to pick their brains when it comes time to do this. I just keep watching Frenchy videos. I think that I really can't go wrong with that.
It's really a labor of love, man. It's something I don't have a love for, but I admire people who do, and I'll smoke the shit out of the hash. I just hate doing it.
I just hate doing it. No, but you make your own concentrates. You know what I mean? Is
Right, I
in
found
the
different.
FSO.
Yeah, I found concentrates that I don't mind making, and they work, very well. So I'm just sticking with that.
Well, and you have the machine that makes it super cost effective too. So
Yeah, exactly. Again, playing to our strengths. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own niche, and that's what makes
Plug your
our
ears, Jack.
family. Yeah, so it makes our cannabis
Trash
family so
time.
special. We're fucking got everybody's doing what they're passionate about, so we get the best of the best all the way around.
Hash time.
Oh my.
I've been smoking hash for
That
about
means I
20
should take
minutes.
my own advice. I should pack some hash in a bowl. I've been sitting here toking on this joint. Didn't even realize what time it was. Well, I think I'm gonna go the usual, and I think I'm gonna do a little Death Star bottom, just to. I might not even need it with this bowl. This thing's
Oh,
got
well,
this
that's your
really
cue.
cool
He was talking about bottoms.
bottoms. Normal, what kind of bottoms you got? I'm gonna do some. I think Death Star bubble. I think I'm gonna do some. Dude, I might do that mixed blend that I gave you, Scobo. That I think put you.
Be careful. Be
Is this the
careful,
stuff
bro.
that?
Yeah,
Is this what
man.
caused you to miss the late sesh a couple
Yes,
weeks
it
ago?
is. Is that the
Oh,
2018? 2018?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was a smasher.
All right. I'm gonna have
You
to
see,
show- I'm gonna
you
have
see
to show
Jack in
you.
the chat, Skilbo? That could be you, man. He says, hash time, boys. Saw our 76 temple from last year. Fire in the hole. That could be you, man.
Ooh, Sour 76. Yeah, Red, that's the shit right there. That's
This the shit.
that's the one.
Damn.
That's the one, officer.
Getting
That's the one
low.
right there.
Getting low on
Dude.
supply.
This is I'm getting low. I don't have enough left. This is terrible. I'm gonna run out
Like a big
tonight.
fucking ice cream scoop.
So I'm just gonna put all of this in the bowl.
Just
now.
whole bowl. Just get down. And we'll
Just
talk
gonna-
about hash for the next hour.
What are those things? Those like straws that I'm just gonna put one of those straws right in there. Take it out. These dab straws. All right, let me yeah, I might just fill her up. I was gonna do some bubble butt. I think that I'm just gonna chop into the dude. I don't even know if this has been chopped into. This is great. So, all right. It's very fluffy on the inside, actually. Like pollen as I spill it all over my keyboard. The next wedding I DJ is gonna smell like hash, because as soon as my keyboard heats up, it's just gonna start vaporizing.
All that shit that's been falling down in there
All the
for
shit
the
that's
last
been
year.
falling down here the last year of bro shows.
I've got hash in my keyboard, too.
Dude, it's just
It'll blow it off every
Loaded.
once in a while. Oh. The chat
Next
told you
wedding's
that those
gonna
are
be
nectar
lit.
collectors, Red.
nectar collectors. Thank you.
I had, in the bottom, I had Spartan glue flour, and then on the top, I had trim tray hash. It's my favorite, man. It fucking blows my mind. It's that
It's a
mix
much
of
better
everything.
quality. You know, you can get the different screens for those and shit too. So if
That's
you want a better
exactly what
quality.
this is.
I just keep a little jar, and I just keep filling it up, so it's mixed from all the different harvests. You know
That's
what I mean?
exactly what this one is.
It's fucking. I love that shit, man. I love it.
Everybody's got one, right?
It's perfect. Yeah. This
Oh,
is
You see, it's got the Skilbo straw in it too, man. The dispenser.
there. It is.
That's how you know it's legit.
That's it. It's the person jar.
All right, guys.
Flying around.
It's that time. I gotta go. I'm tired as fuck already. That hash is hitting me.
Hey, man, I'm so glad you stopped by tonight.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
Oh,
for
man.
swinging through, Spartan.
Hey, no problem. Like I said, I'm usually in chat anyway, so it's nothing for me just to turn the camera on.
You might as well come on in whenever you want to. I don't
All right, guys.
Hash.
later.
Grows love, everybody. Grows love.
Grows up, man. Have a great day at MCC tomorrow.
Will do.
And then there was 3.
There were 3. That's an old Genesis
think.
album. Since you want to be all DJ about shit.
I got the one that's got the what was that game? Pop It or some shit. Remember that what was that
Pop
game?
It?
Put all the patterns and the thing. It's got the platform. You put all the little pattern pieces in there before it pops up on you and goes everywhere.
Oh,
I don't remember
dude.
what the hell the name of that game was. somebody in chat knows the name of that game. It was red and it had yellow pieces.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
like,
remember.
Concentration? Is it concentration? No.
is it? Is that what it is?
No,
No.
no.
What the fuck is it?
I think Poppet is Square.
And then and that was on the cover of a Genesis album that I have somewhere.
That is the name of that album is Genesis.
I think it is. I think it's
That's-
self-titled. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right.
It's the one that's got That's All on it. Shit. I'll regale you with my early 80s rock history while I get blown out on this shit that's still
I
burning.
love it. I love it. See, that's what that hash will do to you. Make you reminisce.
Cheers, champ.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers. I'm finally firing in the hole.
Ooh. We still have 91 people chilling with us. While Red is taking a big rip, I'm going to shoot through here. I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Breach. Dirty Qwerty is still in the house hanging out. Peter Griffin, cheers. Green Mammoth. Trey, I seen you join. It's always good to see you. Ontario Grown Buds, good evening. Stoner Nation 420. Man, we got a whole bunch of people hanging out with us tonight. So I hope that you've enjoyed it so far. The conversation, it's always cool when Spartan Grown stops by. And I hope that you're able to smoke along with us. It's almost that magical time when we start getting our friends from the other side of the world to join us on Awake and Bake. Damn, Red.
Yeah, the hash is hitting fast over here.
She's still doing her thing.
Yeah, you weren't joking, dude. Said careful.
So I said that you gotta fucking take it easy on it, man. Don't ever underestimate aged hash that has, really got the CBNs kicking it and stuff like that. Don't smoke that if you've got something to do.
Especially when there's a bunch of kush. There's a bunch of kush in this one. This was a lot of, I recall a lot of Wi-Fi OG on this one.
It was
Very, very gassy, cushy.
we were talking about the full spectrum oil with Spartan, and earlier in one of our chats, Michigan Medicated showed her taking I called it a Terra cup. She took a peanut butter cup and like made an indentation in it, and then she squirted like, dude, I don't even know how much that was. A whole bunch.
Yeah,
oil
that was
into it.
that was a half gram of oil. That was a
Dude, that
yeah,
was
that was a third. It was a third of a gram of oil easily.
easily.
I don't know if you saw prior to that. She
did the one behind the teeth too. Yeah,
right
Yeah.
into the teeth. Yeah,
double
Nice
dosing.
little-
So
yeah, that was
we were making jokes in the chat with
Solid
she said,
gram.
I think Kate said that she's okay. She's just tripping through time. Time travel.
Tesseract time, dude. That's how you enter the Tesseract right there. Just takes a fucking solid dose of FSO. We're going.
Baby, come back.
Take it through the day. I miss my FSO, man. It's been a minute. I just don't want to waste alcohol right now with the shortages and everything that are going on, or else I would have just been doing the stupid rice cooker move and venting it off to the atmosphere, which I don't like doing. I don't like making it that way. I want to get a good machine. So I got a good 60 days or so before outdoor season's coming down. I want to jump on getting myself a good source turbo machine and really do it right this time, because I do have access to being able to get grain ethanol and food grade alcohol, things like that.
Now is
It's
that
not
the big one
easily
or the small
accessible.
one?
That's the big one. Yeah, that's the big one. I would do the small one, but I mean, just for capacity, I mean, it's just more
Just do the
practical
bigger
to
one.
do the bigger one.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be worth it in the end. I use lots of oil, and I'll tell you what, when I do have it, that doesn't stay around very long either. A lot of my patients utilize that stuff too.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
very easy to make things like gummies. I love using that oil because I can make gummies with it. I can make edibles so much easier. I can put it in all my foods and teas so much easier than having to worry about allergy restrictions and butter and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit little bit easier to deal with stuff like that. I do coconut oil and things like that also, but I like the straight FSO. It just holds a lot better. I don't have to keep it in,
Well, it extracts
worry
better.
about molding or
Alcohol as
anything.
an
It
extract
extracts
is
better.
much better than coconut oil. I mean, coconut oil is great and it extracts well. It does better than butter, but there's some percentages that it can, from what I remember.
Well, I
The way
also
that new
have
cannabis comes out, new information, I could be wrong, but look into it.
no. I mean, I have 65, almost 70% cannabis oil out of alcohol. I mean, that's on the PSI lab results also. Client Red Setter Farm. If you guys want to check that out,
Plug in.
check out. There's a couple. I mean, there are a couple old test results, but I think there might be even a couple different batches of FSO from I don't know. It's a couple years ago batches, but same process, same technique I use. I might use different strains. I might even use more potent strains now than I'd had in the past. So it might may or may not be better results. But I mean, as far as residual solvents go, little to no ethanol left over. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a pure product. I don't want it. I don't want it liquefied by any means. I want it. I want you to have to like heat it up under hot water to be able to get it out of the tube because it's just a pure. It's a
Well,
pure
but
resin.
you can bring coconut oil back into the equation by
And you
after you
can.
reduce
Yep.
it all.
Yep.
You can put a small amount of coconut oil in there to liquefy it as you draw it up into the syringe. It makes it easier to dispense.
Yeah. So what is like one dose for M2? You could make 1,000 doses for Granny. You know what I mean? By just diluting it into carrier oil, being coconut oil and MTC oil, grapeseed oil, whatever you want to do. That's what makes it nice and easy. That's why I like storing. FSO for me is like just just crude. Just keep it in crude form. You have it in raw. It's going to store well. And then if you want to and then from there you can go into anything else that you want. You don't have to deal with a bunch of cheesecloth and all this other stuff to make your edibles and your butters and all that. Just add a syringe of the FSO that's already in storage to a heating pile of butter, and it's probably already decarboxylated and it's already done. All you got to do is heat it up and melt it, stir it, boom, boom, boom. It's a lot easier to just store it in FSO form. From there, you have everything else. Scobo, you could even re-add it to a little bit of alcohol and make another tincture or roller ball out of it.
Well, I was thinking, why couldn't you, since some people want like a glycerin form of a tincture, but we know glycerin doesn't work too well as an extractor, you could, in theory, take this and mix it with the glycerin and then be able to make a tincture this way too that people could dose with. You're just like adding a step that you eliminated originally.
And if you do the math right, you get your oil tested, right? So you go off like the
Right.
PSI lab results, go off my test results, and you figure out and find that it's 65%. You take yourself 1 gram of oil. So now you have 65% of that 1 gram is 650 milligrams. So you have 650 milligrams of THC or cannabis oil in your syringe. And then you add that to a volumetric amount of carrier oil. And then you can get your doses per amount of carrier oil. And then you dose out your carrier oil per. And then maybe I said that too fast, but that's it. It can be simple enough, and if you want to DM me about that, I can slow it down for you. But
And also
it's all
utilize
about
YouTube's ability to play this back at half speed so that Red
there you
will
go.
be speaking more calmly and slowly.
Dude, this hash is like up, down, don't know which way I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna start going left
Dude.
and right here in a second.
Wait a minute, hang on. We're just getting started.
Just get
Just
started.
getting started, bro. You took a whole fucking bowl just like I did. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm on your level all of it. I'm saying Annie barred the door. Get back in there. No, when I made my oil, it was the first try. I reduced it down, and I actually got it to the point where I had just a few bubbles left, and I had watched enough stuff and read things like, okay, make sure there's no bubbles in it. But when I did that, it made it like super, 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 super thick. So I like really have to press to try to get this to discharge.
So I've noticed a trick that I like to do is after I make it, and while it's still semi-warm, right after you draw it up into the syringe. So first thing you have to do is you have to make sure your syringes are depressed all of the way. There's no air in the syringe. And then you have
There we
to
go.
submerge the syringe, and then you draw up the syringe so you don't get an air bubble. There's a good chance you're going to get an air bubble. What I like to do is I like to store my syringes upright. so that any air bubble goes towards the tip and then eventually just evacuates its way out, because you can just kind of depress the syringe a little bit and get rid of that air bubble. Whereas if you store it sideways or upside down, the air bubble ends up at the bottom of the plunger, and if you were to try to depress the syringe and get the air bubble out, you're just going to push out oil instead of the air bubble. So there, you can use gravity
Makes
to your
dosing
advantage.
harder.
Right, right. And if it's warm enough and it's settling, it will move. Keep in mind there's waxes, lipids, and oils within there that may also move around and settle. So depending on your test sample or result, you may get a varied sample.
All right, so let's go back to bubble hash for a minute. Hey, when you make yours, what size bags are you using? I think you have. I think you told me you have the same ones that I do.
I use a like a wash bag, two 260 top bag. I use a 150 bag, and then like a 75 on the bottom, and then I take everything in between, full
Okay.
spectrum. And then you could even take between the 150 and the 260. You could take that out because there's the wash bag is already, the 260 is already holding all the leaf matter and everything, but you're going to get a little something in that 150 bag. That 150 is your food grade. It's a lot of green material right there. There's probably some extra large bulbous trichome heads that aren't going to fit through the 150 bag, or that just don't go through because all the plant matter or whatever. You could take some of that. That's your food grade. You can take that, turn that into some FSO, turn that into some whatever. We're talking FSO as the crude and starting
Right.
material, so just take it right to the FSO. Press some rosin with it. I don't know, do some stuff like that. Otherwise, take your in between is going to, like, you could take it down further. I mean, I think if you want to roll a nice temple ball, you need something that's a little further down, maybe 110 to 75, maybe even lower. 150 seems to harden up when you give it heat. It doesn't seem to want to go melty. Um,
I have an interesting thing.
so I think there's just a little bit too much contamination in the 150 range. So when you get down to like the 110 range, I think you start getting a little bit less contamination. It's a little easier to melt down. Go ahead, Scoble. I'm sorry, man. I'm rambling.
No, I'm just before it flies by on chat. Peter Griffin was saying glycerin will work well, but it takes a while to seal it at temp. Since he puts keef in a sealed jar with glycerin and submerges in 80 to 90-degree water for 2 days or so, and it makes it a super head rocker, trippy. Dude, that's actually pretty cool, man. I just wanted to put that on the record in case. Yeah,
No,
man.
man. I shouldn't even have said no, man. Yeah, man. I like the idea of a cold set. I like the idea of a non-dicarboxylated product. I like the idea of a cold cure, a cold tincture, a dark a dark stored long term tincture, right? And it slowly over time dicarboxylates at room temperature. It or right away you eat it and it just has enough acids in it to where it doesn't knock you on your ass so bad, but it gives you those cannabinoids to be able to boost your immune system or fight whatever disease or whatever's going on in your body. And that's what I think is important about the acids of the plant, being able to, like, especially somebody who's kind of novice at token. I mean, we can eat edibles all day, and it's like, you know, I can eat some 100 milligrams of gummies and a Spartan cookie and be like, all right, let's smoke a doobie. And, anybody else would be having a panic attack to where, they may need that amount. They might need to take that much FSO in a day because it helps cure their ailment, but it gives them panic attacks. So try the non-dicarboxylated version. Try to get the acids in your body. Try to, just eat the raw plant material as much as you can without it affecting your mental status. And that's kind of how you do it, is you don't activate it.
Right. Well, I've done tinctures both ways. I've done, warm and cold. The last one I did, I aged for 60 days. I got a 2-gallon glass jar, and I think I put 4 ounces in there, and it was like 1.5 bottles of the one, whatever the hell we can get here. I think it's 160 or whatever. I'm not close to anywhere that sells it, but I let it go. And so I've been a long time like tincture taker in the mornings and stuff as like medicine. I feel like when I was really at my worst for my health, that by taking my morning regimen of like two full eyedroppers full in my morning cup of coffee and then smoking like a champ really would like set me up for a good day. And I found when I didn't do that, you know, so it was nice to do it the cold way so that it's not as hard hitting. You know what I mean? Sometimes Skillbo's got to work first shift and not always second. So I got to get my old ass up in the morning.
I also did the supplementing with CBD trick. You know, I've had a couple patients where I've had to recommend titrating up as to try to get as much of the oil into their bodies as possible. But they were very, very sensitive to the high. It was a side effect to them. Getting high was definitely a side effect to them. So you know, using CBD, it really does help act as an antagonist. I think is that the inverse.
Yeah,
Is
it
agonist
antagonizes.
antagonizes it. It
Yes.
acts as a reversal to it in like a 10-to-1 kind of a ratio from the book The Cannabis Pharmacy. Maybe Jack Greenstock in chat knows the author by chance. I don't know. But I really need to memorize that author off the top of my head. But Cannabis Pharmacy. Anyways, 10-to-1. If you smoke 10 times the amount of CBD by weight to THC, it'll pretty much cancel out the effects. So if you have yourself a, you know, every percent of CBD to every, you know, 10%, every 10% of CBD to every 1% of THC, pretty much get no effect, you know. So if you're somebody who needs a lot of THC in your body, you know, supplement with that much more CBD should help you get those kind of reactions. So anyways, long story short, you know, I was like listening to some like old, probably Joe Rogan, like Duncan Trussell and stuff, and Duncan Trussell tells this like, you know, story about like the Dalai Lama or something having this conversation with a lady who's talking about her son wanting to you know, he's unhealthy or whatever, overweight, and she needs to figure out what's going on with him. And he doesn't want to recommend, you know, telling him to quit eating a certain way or change his diet or anything without him doing it. So she just tells him, you know, come back in like 30 days or something like that. And the lady comes back in 30 days and he tells her, well, take him off of sugar, start feeding him fruits and vegetables or something like that, change his diet. She's like, why did it take 30 days to figure out, you know, that answer? And he's like, well, that's because I need to figure out if I can do it first. You know, it's like, is something like even possible to do before you can even recommend it to somebody? So I kind of took that as almost like gospel. You know, I kind of took it to the heart and I was like, you know, that's a good point. Like, can I recommend titrating somebody like these kind of effects? Like, what is this like to him? So I started dosing heavily on FSO myself and trying to see like what is this range that they're like experiencing. You know, if they need to take a full syringe in a day, is it even possible to take a full syringe in a day? Obviously with tolerance it is, but like that was the way that I had to manage getting up to that, was I had to supplement with CBD, and it really, really did help, and it really did work. I mean, it was to the point where I could take a half syringe and supplement with a little CBD and I wouldn't really feel any effects. I could keep on going and would need more oil to keep you know, feeling the effects.
So it wouldn't knock you out cold.
It wouldn't knock me out cold. No, the CBD acts as like that total antagonist to it, and it just CBD will almost wake you up in a sense for the most part, and until I mean you really really get the amount of medication in you that you need, it'll probably put you to sleep. But by the time I get enough oil in me, I mean so many hours in the day have gone by, it's bedtime anyways. You know what I mean?
They're talking about your Earth OG in chat, bro.
Yeah, I don't just like dose once early in the day. I like to like prolong dosing throughout the 24-hour cycle, you know. So I'm like I dose periodically throughout the day.
Well, I think that's best if you're trying to manage a pain issue anyway, or if you're just trying to have healing. Is you know you don't want to go from 0 to 60 where you just take one humongous dose all day because that's going to wear off at some point.
Right, exactly. And it's a lot easier to titrate that way. It's a lot easier for your body to build a tolerance that way. You don't go through any down cycles. You just have a constant supply cycle for the most part, you know. I guess the hardest part about it is being able, you know, fortunately we talk about growing, and so we're able to supply ourselves, you know, for those that actually need this medication, and it can be quite expensive, you know. So I mean, there's just like, you know, it's on us to be able to provide it as cost effectively as we can. Unfortunately, you know, oils and things like that to a lot of us are, you know, for me, it's almost a byproduct. I sit on most of my trim because I don't have efficient enough means of processing or anything like I said, I don't have my patients don't really request, they don't dab or anything. So I almost need to do edible oils and stuff like that. So it's a matter of efficiency. So,
Yeah.
you know, for me, my main source of, I guess, keeping my patients happy is choice top end flour. So, you know, and I would really like to have that other options available.
So let me give you a weird idea. You had said before that the reason you don't do it is because it's not cost efficient too. What you could do as an experiment is, let's say that you are able to source 1.5 fifths. So you soak a QP, right? You do your wash. Whatever time you're doing it doesn't matter. Let's say that you're doing a week, okay? So at the end of that week, you strain all that out, and then you basically get rid of the buds that were in there, and you put fresh buds in, and you put the other alcohol that you just strained out back in there. You
That
add
works
only
to
a little
a
bit more if you have to make sure that everybody is submerged, and you can make it like double dose, triple dose, like that, because
you
you're holding
can do
things in
that to a
suspension.
certain extent, but alcohol will only hold so much of the cannabinoid alkaloids within their molecule. You know what I mean? Like there's a set the alcohol will become saturated with with cannabis alkaloids to a point where it won't accept anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know what that point is, but you can continue to add flour to your product to that saturation point, but there is a saturation point. So I mean, you know, you can strain and do that maybe once or twice. You might be able to double dose. I don't know if doing it 3 times, you know, eventually you're going to start wasting product also. But
Yes,
yeah, I mean, you are correct. You can do that, but there is it's kind of
there's
like
a
a fine
tipping
line.
point. Well, because it keeps going into the material and going into the material. But if you are able to, as you said, get that source turbo, you'll be able to reclaim, I think, like 80% of the alcohol that you use during the process, right? Maybe even more than that. It might be
Yeah,
90%.
maybe even more than that. I'm not sure. I mean, geez, just reclaiming 50, 20, any amount is just better than nothing right now. Because right now with
It
with
just
the
evaporates away.
lack of
It's
like
boiling it
being able
off.
to find cleaning alcohol and just stuff like that. I mean, just for being a responsible adult in general, I mean, there's obviously like a national shortage or something's going on. Like there's something that's happening. I don't know. Maybe there's not. Maybe it's just a marketing issue. I don't. Who knows? Maybe there's. I don't want to go down rabbit holes. But who knows what it is? But to me, it's like just
Brett
being a
doesn't have any
responsible
alcohol.
person.
That
I don't know.
there you go.
You know. To me, it seems like there's an issue or something. I can get it in grain, edible, ethanol form. So I'm gonna use that for my cleaning supplies right now. You know, if I can get myself some 190 proof, 95% Everclear or something like that, I can use that for soaking my scissors. I can use that for cleaning my razor blades, and I can use that for wiping down my stainless. I can use that for cleaning out my bubblers and my bongs. So for right now, I think the ethanol is going to be okay. I don't need to source ISO. I'm sure there's ISO source. Everybody's got a website or something for ISO, but I like to pay cash for a lot of stuff that I use. So that's kind of where I sit.
Yeah, man.
Anyways, long story short, I would also like to just be a responsible person, lessen my carbon footprint, and be able to regenerate as much of anything that I come across in life. So, starting with the 2 bottles that have been sitting on my countertop. Scuba, by the way, I have a couple of bottles of, I have a couple like half-gallon, what are the big giant ball jars? Those are 32 ounces, right? Those are
Yeah,
half gallons.
yeah. Those whole
Those a couple of those, I got a decent amount of trim sitting in them. They're probably full of alcohol. Been sitting in there forever. You know what I mean? At this point, waxes and lipids, the whole nine. They're yours for
yeah,
medicinal topicals.
yeah, man.
So that's you. So just share the topical with me, and then otherwise I don't really have much of you. I'm not going to cook that down for edible. It's going to be way too
No,
bitter.
yeah.
It's going to be nasty. I might be able to make candles out of all this shit, but I don't know, dude. Otherwise, I'd rather it be used for the pain relieving medicinal effects. I mean, this burn on my hand is like 2 weeks. I'm not gonna gross.
Dude, it works great, doesn't it?
Works great, man. Yeah, it's almost gone. Put it on a instant burn. Touched a hot coil in my oven, and it like fried instantly. Right.
It was bad.
It was really, really bad. I put the roller ball on it instantly, and it did not blister. It went into phase 2 almost instantly, so that immediately works. So it speeds up healing really, really fast. You know what I mean? Like the skin immediately, it started to heal itself. So shout out to the roller ball, shout out to just cannabis in general, and being able to heal the body and just provide homeostasis. That's the big key. It gets into the blood cells, it gets into the brain, it gets into everywhere, and it provides homeostasis, and it heals us.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Connects the dots.
I am at the point where, like I said, I have a couple of different avenues that I want to take this harvest. Obviously, I want to keep the A's, but the B's and trim, I want to do half as FSO, and I want to do half as bubble hash. That's just for personal use. And it's the learning side of the hobby that is always fun for me, and I'm sure it's fun for a lot of you too out there.
You may be able to take your bubble hash, take your food grade portion, your your wash, maybe even your wash material or dry out, and then just because you don't add any extra water weight to your alcohol bath, and you may even be able to re-extract with your alcohol and make yourself a nice little topical tincture off of that, or a nice little low dose edible tincture off of that, or cook it down, or like you said, like we're talking about saturation point, you might be able to just keep adding your wash, until the alcohol does get saturated, and then you got yourself a nice potent uh, alcohol bath. So I mean, dude, and then from there, I mean, you could even toss that stuff into your bathtub and take a bath with it if you wanted to. After you
The Duff,
rinse
yeah,
out your
man,
alcohol.
yeah, you definitely do. Look into making bath bombs with it. It's super easy, and you know what I mean. Throw some food coloring in there, have some fun with that shit. And if you are lucky enough not to be one of those people that is in pain, I'm sure that you know somebody that is. So just tell them it's not like they're going to get high from the bath water, but it should take away some of those aches and pains for a little while for them.
No, most of the medicinals have been washed out in the water, and then they get washed out in the alcohol. Now you're just left with fats and oils and lipids that are probably good for your skin and body. So,
Mr.
absorb
Greach is
that shit.
asking. He says he is new to FSO. What are the primary benefits and uses?
Loading your body with cannabinoids. Primary number one. Pain relief, I would say. Uh, general anything that cannabis can help with in a smoking form. If you can't smoke, you can eat it edibly in a FSO form. It is the ability to ingest cannabis without smoking it. You can just eat it, and it's activated generally.
And there's nothing in it. It doesn't have residual alcohols. It doesn't, you know what I mean? So
A good FSO should not have any residual alcohols. Correct. It should be down to a pure oil. Whatever the ratios of the plant are should just be transferred over to the oil. Usually minus like a lot of the fats and lipids, depending on how well mixed or lack of mixed it is in its final form before you draw it up into the syringe.
There's so many good answers in the chat. I just want to read a couple of them. Jack saying it's pain relief and reduces inflammation. Abolish says it's our nuke when it comes to healing. And I do have to say, Dirty, I do like your idea. We just have to source one of those bingo ball things, man. But it would work. I've seen somebody actually make those where they took a fucking windshield wiper motor a 5 gallon bucket, a belt system, and a bubble bag. And they had it run horizontally, and they put all their buds in there, and the tumbling action through it with the windshield wiper motor actually made some like redneck dry sift. So go find the deep dark holes of YouTube, and that video is on there
Amazing what you
somewhere.
can do with a bench grinder and a table saw, dude.
A
Get
fucking
it done.
windshield wiper motor. Another one is that you could, if you wanted to, here's just one off the top of the head. You could stretch that bag over top of a 5 gallon bucket or whatever size fits, right? You could get a random orbital sander thing. Don't put any sandpaper or anything on it, and then put it on the bottom of the bucket, and then over top of your glass that you're going to do it on, just turn that bitch on and giddy up. Just as you realize that the more you agitate it like that, that the more green matter that you're getting. So don't get overzealous on your first shots.
I'm a fan of FSO. Oh, hey,
Oh,
dog
it's
alarm,
DOG
guys.
time.
Dog alarm. It's that time. I'll be
DOG
right back.
time. Who doesn't love it? You got DOG time and hash time here on the late sesh. Oh man, it is 12:36, and I am glad to say that there are still 78 people chilling with us. Cheers. I hope that you've had a mellow night, and if nothing else, the chat has been popping, so I know it's been entertaining on that side. If we haven't gotten it, Narwhal, can you hear me? Once, twice, three times a lady. Narwhal's dadding or dabbed out. I'm not sure which it is. But hey, Red's back.
Norwal, I apologize, man. I have been dominating the conversation. I should be letting you speak a little bit more. How you doing, both
We
from me
haven't
down
we,
there?
we haven't confirmed or denied the existence of Narwhal.
Oh, okay.
I said he may
You're
be
right.
dadding or he may be dabbed out. The hash got Narwhal.
I think I'm gonna refill some of this mixed blend, man. I don't know.
Isn't it great?
It's
God.
great. Yeah, like it's got me
Yeah.
juiced right now. I feel good. It's nice.
Question from Peter Griffin: what is FSO, RSO, FICO, extra? Okay, the acronyms. Okay, so FSO is what we call full spectrum oil. RSO is Rick Simpson oil. They are one and the same. Basically, some people will say the difference is that RSO, meaning Rick Simpson, the original recipe was with some kind of alcohol that I can't remember off the top of my head. Naphtha. Thank you, Red. And the idea of FSO is that it is made with food grade alcohol. FICO is just another word for fully extracted cannabis oil. So those are all basically one and the
Well,
same.
we could talk about Rick Simpson for a second because that is actually a good story. Rick Simpson developed a method, even though he did use like naphtha. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Scobo. I want to go back to Rick Simpson just for a second because I think that it's a good story. It's important. It was like a founding. It was like well, according to him and his story, it was like a founding. One of the ways that reasons cannabis works so well that it does. Like he kind of originated this method of the extraction. He originally used naphtha. In chemistry and stuff, I suppose naphtha will take out the alkaloids and it can be off gassed properly. Maybe, I don't know. In my mind, there's some other things in naphtha that might linger. So I'm not a fan of the naphtha thing. So, anyways, so Rick Simpson was able to. I guess he had a cancer. I'm don't quote me on any description of what kind or anything like that, but through a method of
I thought it was skin.
through a method of titration, he was able to go up to, and so he says, like it's like 90 grams in 90 days, 60 grams in 90 days, or something like that. And that's this Rick Simpson method. And there's this method of titration that you want to begin with, starting with the right size and going all the way up to like a couple to 3 grams a day, so that you can get this like in a 90-day period, and this will like kill cancer. This is anecdotally kill cancer, kill tumors, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where the Rick Simpson method, and supposedly his type of cancer was cured, relieved, or and I'm almost positive he's still alive to this day. And so this method has been kind of used as a guideline, anecdotal guideline, and so to speak, through
Phoenix Tears, right? Is what the other
yeah,
name was.
in a lot of that. Well, that's a non-reduced version is definitely Phoenix Tears. Like that's basically your precursor to crude, to your raw oil is a tincture, and Phoenix Tears is like alcohol tincture. Basically, it's we could do warm tincture, cold tincture, activated, deactivated,
And
million
there's just
different
so many
ways, like what we
ways
were
that it can
talking
be
about,
used, right?
everything that we've been talking about in this late sesh, about cold cure and the whole nine. So basically that's the Rick Simpson. And go ahead, Scobo, you can continue, because I'm gonna have to go let the OG in anyways here in just a second, but you can continue what FSO and FICO and all of those are. Sorry.
Okay, so I'll go back in time and I'll say that I got a magic butter machine in, like, I think it was probably 2013 or 2014. I'm not sure which year. And I got it so that not to make butter, I got it to make alcohol tinctures. And I used it for a long time. And there's a couple of really cool Facebook groups that I used to be a part of that really was helpful and gave you a lot of recipes, and you could ask questions and stuff in there. But I got to the point where um, I didn't want to use the heat from the machine, and I didn't want to be to the point where I was macerating the bud. I didn't want it to be so dark. So I went to more of the traditional method of using, like I said, a large jar. And I always think of trying to use the best bee buds that I have, which I know that's kind of oxymoronic, but the strength of the tincture is based upon the starting material, not just the methodology. So use an ample amount. It would be better, in my opinion, for you to save up enough cannabis to be able to make a really, really strong product than it would be to almost strike out and start off with, I know there's a lot of recipes where it says, take 5 grams of cannabis, and, like, come on, man. I mean, it probably does work, but I'm trying to use this as personal medicine, so I want to make it work. It'd be shameful for me to spend so much time and effort and everything else, but then fuck up the end process of it for myself, and rob myself of medicinal benefits that could have been unlocked. Just riffing, Red. Just riffing.
I like where you're going and what I'm catching of it anyways, at least I'm catching the end of. Yeah. In chat, dude. Trey playing devil's advocate. What if it was the naphtha that cured it? That's
It wasn't a fully extracted cannabis oil.
right.
How's that sound?
I
Try to be safe
believe
with them.
so. I believe in prevention. I believe in like I said, dosing over time, dosing daily over time, frequently. This isn't about to me it's not about a constant. Well, for me, being, let's say I'm providing cannabis to somebody who's a healthy person, okay, who's considered a healthy person. I don't think that anybody's 100% healthy, to be honest. I think that there's environmental and atmospheric,
Dude,
there's
I just seen that there is
food.
100% plastic in fucking tissues now.
Right. So exactly. So like we all have issues. Like we're on like we're teeter tottering, health and wellness daily. So we need something to act preventatively, right? To help give us, boosts of immunity and things like that, to our environmental stresses, okay, which do exist, and there are the pollutions and things like that. Our food system sucks. I mean, I'm not going to go into those rabbit holes. Those are other late sessions that we have. So
You gotta save something for a couple extra shows, right? Because we never
exactly.
have topics to talk about on this.
It's important to me to dose myself with cannabis, because I believe that cannabis works. I've seen an anecdote. I have not anecdote. I've seen it like work on people. I've seen it cure people's ailments. I've seen, and sometimes it's like we think of like when somebody's cured, they can like stop taking their drugs, they can stop their medications. I don't think cannabis is one of those things. Cannabis is like a lifelong medication
Yeah,
that
it's not a cure. It's
it's
a
not a
fucking.
cure. It's
It's a thing.
it puts your body in homeostasis. And guess what happens when you stop using cannabis? Your body's probably going to fall back out of homeostasis, unfortunately. Like it's one of those things that and at the same time, it's not a pharmaceutical. So there's pharmaceuticals that'll prevent your body from falling out of homeostasis, but they will also add a lot of other side effects and things, other radicals. So, anyways, um, this is something that we can grow in our backyards primarily. This is something that we can source very easily. This is something we can extract and we can make potent sleep cure. You know what I mean? Like
It's
talk about
just
FSO. Dude, if you're a lightweight, dose heavy on FSO if you can't sleep. You're out like a light. You know what I
yes,
mean? Out like a
yeah.
light. You're not gonna get all fucked up. You're gonna go to sleep. You
And
might
you're
get
gonna
fucked
wake
up for
up,
a
and
minute.
you're gonna wake up
You're
high
gonna go
if you're
sleep.
like a rook. You will get that early stoner days.
But you know what, man? If you haven't slept in like 90 days and you have crazy anxiety and you really need to go to sleep, like, dude, I wake up every couple of hours, man. I wake up every couple of hours and I check my cameras or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on high alert all times of the day. Some of us are. Some of us had jobs that make us that way. Some of us are working 18 hours a day and then have kids and other things. So it's like
You know what I
you
think,
need
man?
cannabis to sleep sometimes.
You do. And at the same time, you need all personality types as well. To make a society, you need all personality types. You need somebody who's hyper vigilant all the time. You know what I mean? That's how we stayed safe. So cheers to Red Setter Farm, guys. He's our dude. He's
Sorry about
probably
the ear beating.
the ear
This
beating.
mixed blend, man. Today, let's take it back to 2018, guys.
So are you now going to get up off of me about this 2018 plant? I'm telling you, man, it's nice.
I haven't touched it, dude. I honestly like
But you get
have
back
backed
into it
off of
now.
it. Yeah, I'm gonna get back in. It's probably been a couple years since I've. I mean, you see how full a jar is. It's as full as it
It's
was.
been on
You're
like the
probably,
darkest corner of like the closet in the world.
dude. It just
just got
sits in that
forgotten
little
back
treasure
there.
chest, and
Yeah.
yep, it says mix on it. So I'm like, that's a whole bunch of shit. It's gonna put me to sleep. You know what I mean? I can't sleep.
That's called the Sleepy Go Night Night.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes you just got like I've been on that kind of every couple of hours waking up and I really need to get some
That's
sleep. You
you
know
got to
what I
get some
mean? So
REM sleep, bro.
yeah,
Stand
exactly.
in the
It's
place
almost
where you
impossible.
are, Red Setter Farm. Little Michael
Yeah.
Stipe action for you.
I'll tell you what. I don't lose REM. I dream nightly, very vividly as well. I almost go directly into REM, and I think
You know
that
what?
that's where I stay for most of my night.
I would love to do a quick thing with chat here. We got a few minutes left before we go. Once I became a heavy smoker, I like I know that everybody dreams, but I have no recollection of dreams whatsoever. Maybe once in a blue moon. And if I don't smoke, I have like trippy ass fucking hypnotic crazy like when you're a kid dreams. So interesting to see that Red still has dreams and Red smokes like we smoke.
Oh, when I don't smoke, my dreams are 10 times. And I mean, I kind of have repetitive. Sometimes I don't really want to get into it. There might be somebody out there that might like self-diagnose me for some crazy shit. So, anyways, I'm not going to get into dreams or anything right now. But I do dream often, and I do remember them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so I've done that where I've taken tolerance breaks or I've stopped smoking for jobs or whatever. And I have noticed that. And I want to say that it was on like Joe Rogan or something. I did hear like a sleep therapist talk about the science behind what's going on with that. And supposedly THC does suppress REM
REM.
sleep.
Yeah,
And when you finally get a break of THC, your body like catches up on REM sleep. So you like almost overdose on REM and you overdose on dreams and things like that, which I do think is strange. But I think that what is going on is that I've been a consumer of cannabis, a regular consumer of cannabis for so long that I think that my body's used to it, and it knows that it needs REM sleep, and cannabis doesn't suppress REM sleep for me. You know what I mean? It fights. I need cannabis to sleep. You know what I mean? Or otherwise, I can't sleep. So maybe it's something a little bit different for those of us who have high tolerances, or for those of us who have maybe adapted to cannabis throughout our adulthood into our life. You know, maybe they're testing people that have only been smoking cannabis for a couple of years, and not people who've been smoking cannabis for half their lives. You know, type of thing. But
Dude, we have the
I'd
coolest
say
fucking
at this
chat,
point
man.
it's probably part of my genome. You know what I mean?
We have the coolest chat. I love you guys, man. That's fucking. I'm sitting here reading along with it, and it seems like I don't know, man. I think it could be different for everybody. I know that Jack is correct in saying that you don't remember them. You sleep through the point, but I think that's kind of a good thing. You know, we were talking about PTSD and stuff like that. Maybe not on this program, but probably pre-show or something. And that could be a real benefit to using something like the FSO, where it will knock you out and go to sleep. Um, I say that because I have a relative who is a Vietnam veteran, and I was talking to him last week, and he was telling me about he still wakes up every single morning under the bed. So that shit's real, and people really need relief. So maybe cannabis could be the thing that helps you. Either way, it's something to look into. And lastly, it's working for me. So it's all anecdotal in the sense of I don't have peer review shit. So anything I say is anecdotal evidence, and I'm cool with that.
You know, for me, cannabis was always a focus mechanism. Prior to any injuries that I had, where I needed it for pain, prior to any I guess any anxieties and depressions or anything like that that I encountered. It was a focus mechanism for a long time. It helped me. It helped me get through some loss as an early teenager. You know, some stuff that I was really dealing with, with losing close family members and things like that. There, it had. I don't know. It was almost like a buddy, I suppose, in a sense. It helped me, you know, stay focused on like probably staying out of trouble in a sense also, you know, because I've always been like kind of, you know,
We've
just
all
kind of doing
self
my own
medicated
type of a
with it.
thing. Yeah. And so I would like kind of self medicate to like make myself feel better. But at the same time, it would help me like get focused on like doing random little projects around my house or something like that, building
Reg,
stuff.
you
I was
got to
always into
read
building
chat.
like skateboard ramps and shit like that. What's up in chat, man? I'm
Oh, you're missing it, man.
all over the place.
It's so good. We just 207. I caught last week's Wake and Bake right before bed that morning, and I dreamt a dream, and Red was in it. Jack says, I guess you could say Red is the man of your dreams. You guys fucking rock, man. Sometimes I don't fucking, I put Red on like hold in my brain because I'm reading something in chat. And it's awesome when it's like better than what we're talking about. So
No, I know
it's
exactly how that
always like,
happens, dude. I fell asleep to Kings of Comedy one time, right? I'm fall asleep to Kings of Comedy, and I dreamt the entire Bernie Mac skit in the back in my head, and I had one of those like I used to get this all the time. You know that old hag syndrome, phantom leg syndrome, and that whole thing where you're like awake and you're looking around your room and like you can't move and you
oh, the
can't
night terror.
yell and
Yeah, it's a night terror.
yeah, I used to get that shit all the time, and I was having it, and my TV was off, but it was actually on. You know what I mean? And it was like the Bernie Mac was going through. It was very strange, really strange. But I was laughing,
That was some good
but I was
cannabis, bro.
awake, but I was asleep. That was some good cannabis, dude.
So,
No, yeah,
Narwhal, can
that
you hear me? No.
the weed coma, man. What right when you went into a couple of weeks ago, you know that it'll
Oh,
get you. You get yourself a nice little midday weed nap. Sometimes that
yeah.
can be one of the best resets. You wake up refreshed for the evening, and you might not even stay up late either. You might actually get yourself a nice little go to bed on time type of thing. But
Uh, Trey says, I try and simulate a dream state while awake with cannabis. That is getting high. Yeah, man. I'm on that wavelength. Ooh,
I like to do that when I'm in my garden. I like to do that indoors or outdoors. I like to do that when I'm in nature. I definitely like to do that when I'm outside or in nature. It 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 can kind of connect you in some other ways than just when you're just sitting inside or living room or in a
man, go
hallway or
outside,
something
get
different.
grounded, man. You know what I mean?
It's very, very different. Yeah. You can almost call it meditation or call it whatever you will,
Oh, shit. There's a name in Zen,
way
and
of
I can't
connection.
remember what it is. It is like walking Zen, which is, when gardening, just garden. Don't think about
You
the
mean
other shit.
being just presence,
Being, yeah, in the
being
moment.
here now.
Yeah. Focusing on what you are actually supposed to be doing rather than the mindless chattering that
Yes.
you otherwise might have, you know. I think that's, one of the biggest things is, before we get up out of here, is people are too fucking hard on themselves these days, man. You gotta cut yourself a little bit of slack. Learn to be nicer to yourself, and it's a hell of a lot easier to be nicer to others, and then it becomes cyclical.
Well, I'm gonna recommend because of this we're having this awesome wellness conversation, health, wellness, the mind, the body, the spirit, and I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about anything. We're about to jump off. I want to just shout out Michael Pollan, the book How to Change Your Mind. Hope everybody can get a chance to take a look at that. I'm not going to get into depth on that. I don't want any flags or anything. Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind. I also want to shout out the damn it, I had another one. I had another shout out and I forget what it was. Skubbo, keep talking, man. It'll come to me in just a second.
You're talking about shout outs.
Yeah, I know, but crap. It was a reference. It was another
Baby,
reference that
come
I
back.
wanted to reference people, but I'll get it here in 1 second.
It'll come back to you. Just, you know what I mean? Just be nice. It's fuck it, man. These days people are too quick to get huffy about stuff. Don't be that person. Be red over there, smoking that aged blend. Yeah, man, and through the day, he gets his trials and tribulations. But you know what?
I remember it, and I'm not gonna forget. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Get it?
Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart
Oh
Tolle.
yeah.
So
Okay.
read How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. Listen to it on an audiobook or something like that. Check out some of Eckhart Tolle's stuff. He brings kind of like Eastern philosophy into the Western language, if you will. He makes it a lot easier to listen to. He really slows it down for you. ECKHARTTOLLE or something like that, man. Been a great help through anxiety relief and things like that. Get medicated. He's down with being medicated. He's down with spirituality and all of that stuff. So if if you have a hard time, with health, wellness, or anything like that, or you're going through a hard time, 2020 has been a pain in the ass on you. Read that book, check out that, and change your mind somehow. That's all.
Change your mind and your ass will follow. No,
I guess so.
Little, almost Frank Zappa.
Hey, good night, Daddy Red. And yeah, man. That's really all I have.
That's it, man. That's it. We drift
Dude,
our way through here.
If you let me, I'll keep rolling. But I don't know, man. I could keep loading up this hash bowl.
Bro, I got to work early. But I do want to see if Narwhal is back.
Norwal, are you sleeping?
No, I think he's dead.
Norwal's dabbing.
Right on, Trey. Right on. You know what? Look forward to the future episode that we do with Jack Greenstuff, where we're going to talk all about aliens and abductions and things like that. Be a good show, right, Red?
Oh, aliens? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we haven't even gone down alien wormholes yet.
Peaked his. Look at that.
Holy cow. What blood type are you?
This guy.
Hey man. Hey man.
Hey man. Is Red quoting Destiny's
Quoting
Child?
Destiny's I don't even know what I said, but maybe, yeah, probably. I quote music often.
As always,
I do.
it's always fun for me to do these late set shows, man. And it is what it is. And I can't wait to come back and do another one next Monday night at 11 p.m. In the meantime, sending positive vibes out there to everybody to have a terrific Tuesday and get it off with a wake and bake on the right foot. Red's nodding up there sagely. What do you got to add, brother?
I'm not into chat, dude. I'm just not into everything that I'm looking in chat, and I'm just
See?
yep.
See?
I wanna give Narwhal a shout out. He's in Dabland. I want to give Spartan a shout out for jumping on and hanging out through hash time and chat and cannabis community. And thanks for just listening to me ramble and listen to Skibbo and I hang out tonight. It's been
Griffin.
yeah, man. It's it's where are we, man? We're getting in the middle of August, and our outdoor cannabis crops are starting to flower, and I think that's something we can really talk about next week when outdoor is really underway, man. We'll be like week 2 almost next week. Just barely starting to see the signs of sex right now. So I'm really excited for what's ahead. We got some rain ahead of us. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm in a valley. I luck out most of the time. So we'll see
He's
how
in the
this
valley.
all goes. Otherwise, cheers everybody. I really appreciate you all tuning in, and see you all next week. Catch you all through the week. Find me on Instagram, Red Setter Farm.
Ever the professional, Red. Until next time, catch us at 6 a.m. on Thursday morning for another Wake and Bake with the Groskies with Tara, Dan, Sequence, and myself. Otherwise, we'll see you Sunday nights at 9 p.m. for the Bro Show Live.